Hi everyone, this is a demo of the Node Inventory Planner tool that is part of the Network Catalog Wave function pack supporting the WAN Automation Engine platform. The Node Inventory Planner tool is a tool that leverages the inventory data that is collected through WAY Collector to provide increased visibility and detail for hardware capacity remaining on your routers in your network to accommodate future traffic growth. With this data, planners can more easily determine whether the existing hardware inventory that is installed in their routers will accommodate the growth that they expect and the capacity increases needed to accommodate that growth in the future. And in effect, it basically allows for a better synchronization between your inventory planning as well as your capacity and traffic planning activities. The tool bundle itself includes the tool as well as the documentation and sample plan files. On the right here on the screen, we're seeing the documentation, which goes through a comprehensive description of all of the functionality of the tool, including some of the prerequisites. And one of the important prerequisites for this tool is that you have to collect the inventory data using our Way Collector get inventory and build inventory tools. These two tools are a standard part of the Way Collector tool suite, so users must configure and run these in their snapshot process to collect the inventory data and process it to build your hierarchical view of your router inventory. Once these two are run, you'll have some additional netint tables in your plan file, including the netint node inventory table, which is the one that is consumed by this tool to utilize to build the reports. The documentation goes through all of the input parameters as well as the expected output reports, as you can see here on the screen, as well as it goes through a sample plan file that you can run yourself. The sample plan file is included with the bundle and talks about all the inputs and the expected output for that plan file. And again, this documentation is included in the bundle under the doc subdirectory, and the sample plan file is available in that same bundle as well. Alright, so let's get into the actual demo of the Node Inventory Planner tool. I'm going to be going through a few preliminary steps here just to give you a bit of context into a typical use case for this tool and the planning exercises. Start out here with looking at a plan file in the Way Design GUI. Let's say you've as a planner, you've projected out your future traffic for, let's say, the next quarter in your plan file, and you can see based on the utilizations after you're running sim analysis that even though your steady state utilization is still pretty good, your worst case utilization is now in some places exceeding 100%, and so we'll need to go and upgrade some of the circuits to deal with this fairly high worst case utilization. So to do that, we'll run the circuit upgrade tool, which is another tool in the planning and optimization function pack, and there's a demo video for that as well if you're interested in that particular tool. So you'll run that tool to find out where you need to add additional capacity in your network to bring down that worst case utilization in your network. And this is the plan file that results from that tool being run. We can see now that we've added some additional capacity to the network and brought those worst case utilizations down to under 85%, in most cases just above 80%. We can see, looking at the report, that to bring those utilizations down, we had to upgrade 4 circuits. In this case, each of these circuits are lag based, so to increase the capacity, we added additional port circuits to each of these. In this case, for each one we added an additional 10 gig port circuit. And so to accommodate this increased capacity, we'll need to utilize additional ports, 10 gig ports on each side of these port circuits. And so if we want to look at it sort of a summary of what additional ports we're going to need, we can look at this table, the new port requirements. And here we have it broken down by node, uh, what how many ports we're going to need to accommodate that circuits we had to upgrade. So we can see for these various routers, these 5 routers, we needed anywhere from 1 to 2 additional 10 gig ports. So the next logical question would be, do I have the ports available in these routers to accommodate this growth that I expect in my network? And that is where the node inventory planner tool comes into play. So we'll first select these specific nodes. You can do that by doing a context filtering from the report that the circuit upgrade tool provides. We'll filter on selection, and that filters those to the nodes table. So these are ones we'll select for our node inventory planner tool, and that'll be the ones that it focuses on creating a report for the inventory capacity utilization in those routers. So we'll run the node inventory planner tool with those nodes selected. As you can see, the only option for this is the actual nodes you want it to analyze, and those have already been selected in the nodes table. We see those 5 selected, so we'll go ahead and run that tool. And while it's churning through that, what we'll see here shortly is a report that pops up that will indicate what inventory is currently available in those routers, and focusing primarily on the specific ports that you have available and are using in your routers. As you can see, this is the 5 routers that we selected here in this report. This is a mixture of Cisco's and Junipers in this case, with the router models listed. The first bit of information shown here is the number of empty slots you have in each of these routers. So this gives you a quick indication of if I needed to install a line card, how many more slots do I have available to do that. And then overall utilization of your slots. So in this case, I'm using 25% of my slots in this router already, with 6 available for future use. And then we have a similar statistics for modules and module slots. Finally, we have a breakdown of your ports by port speed. So depending on what ports you have available in your routers, you'll have different columns show up here, whether they're 10 gigabit or 100 gigabit. Those will show up depending on the specific hardware configuration of your routers. In this case, we have only 10G ports available, so that's what's showing up in this report. So what you can see here is we have, for this particular router, CR1KCY, we have 8 10G ports available that are currently installed but turned down and ready to be used for additional capacity connected to that router. We can see again a utilization metric indicating we're using 50% of the 10G ports that you have installed in this router currently. So it just gives you a quick snapshot of basically how much is installed already in your router, how much you're currently using, and what's available for future growth in your network. So we can look back at the report we saw before for the circuit upgrade. We'll see again a breakdown of how many ports we're going to need in each of the routers. So if we look at, in particular, focus on CR2 in the Chicago site, we can go back to that one on this report, and we can see here we needed a single port, a 10G port, and we can see in this inventory report, we can see we have 49 available ports, so that's plenty of capacity for this projected growth for that router. If we look at CR2 Atlanta, again we need 1 port, we have 10. So you can go through the various routers, what we're requiring for this growth versus what you have in the network, and get a feel for whether you're going to be able to accommodate this growth, or may need to augment these routers with additional hardware to bring up more ports that can be used for this new capacity. So let's say you find one where you don't have enough capacity, your available ports do not accommodate what you're going to need, and so you want to investigate further what line cards do I have there already where I could maybe add additional modules, what slots are available so I can add additional line cards. Another output from this tool is a user table that indicates has more detail about what's available in each of these routers in terms of inventory. And this is contained in a user table called inventory node planning. So if you configure what tables are visible, you can select that table, and that activates that table, so we can look at that in more detail below here. So what this table provides is again a more detailed indication of what's installed in these routers. For this table, we have a line for every port that you have installed, whether it's in use or available, or in some cases we have slots that are empty. So you have a row for an empty slot, or a row for an empty module slot if that's the case, or a port slot. So it just gives you a sort of a hierarchical view of what's installed and what piece of hardware, where it is in the router, and you can quickly see where you have available ports, where you might want to install additional line cards if you need to augment your routers to accommodate your future growth. So if we look back and do a quick glance at one of these routers, CR2 Chicago, we'll look at that one real quick. We can filter on that and take a closer look at that particular router. So that brings up that router, and so all the rows that are corresponding to that router, we can see we have in slot 0 we have a line card, a 20 by 10 gig port line card installed, and various ports in that line card are either in use or available currently. As we scroll through that, we see that slots 1 and 2 are empty, nothing's installed in those, and again in the slot 3 we have another 20 by 10 line card installed. And so you can get a good idea of where you have things installed and where you might want to augment your router to accommodate your expected future growth. That concludes the demo for the Node Inventory Planner tool. For more information, please consult the documentation included with the tool or send questions to the WAY Function Pack Help email list. Thank you very much.